Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast. I'm really happy you're here today because we're going to talk about something that almost all of us struggle with, our phones. You know that habit of picking up your phone the second you wake up, or scrolling for hours at night when you know you should be sleeping, or just losing track of time on social media. We've all been there, right? And the truth is phones are not bad. They're actually amazing tools, but somewhere along the way they kind of started to control us instead of us controlling them. So in this episode, I want to share with you some simple and practical steps that can help you break free from those bad phone habits and start using your phone in a way that actually helps your life instead of stealing your time. So grab your headphones, get comfortable, and let's get into it. So the first thing we need to talk about is understanding why phone habits are so addictive. It's not just about us being weak or having no self-control. The truth is our phones, and especially social media apps, are designed to keep us hooked. Every time you check your phone and see a like or a new message or even just something interesting on your feed, your brain gets a little hit of dopamine. That's the same chemical that makes us feel rewarded and excited. And just like a slot machine in a casino, you never know what you're going to get when you refresh your feed. Sometimes it's nothing special, but sometimes it's really exciting, and that unpredictability is what keeps you coming back again and again. Once you realize this, you stop blaming yourself so much, and you start seeing the system for what it is. It's designed to grab your attention and hold it as long as possible, and knowing this is the first step, because when you understand the game, you can start finding ways to take back control instead of letting your phone control you. So the first thing we need to talk about is understanding why phone habits are so addictive. It's not just about us being weak or having no self-control. The truth is our phones, and especially social media apps, are designed to keep us hooked. Every time you check your phone and see a like or a new message or even just something interesting on your feed, your brain gets a little hit of dopamine. That's the same chemical that makes us feel rewarded and excited. And just like a slot machine in a casino, you never know what you're going to get when you refresh your feed. Sometimes it's nothing special, but sometimes it's really exciting, and that unpredictability is what keeps you coming back again and again. Once you realize this, you stop blaming yourself so much, and you start seeing the system for what it is. It's designed to grab your attention and hold it as long as possible, and knowing this is the first step, because when you understand the game, you can start finding ways to take back control instead of letting your phone control you. I want to talk about stopping the habit of checking your phone first thing in the morning, because this is one of the most powerful changes you can make in your daily life. So many of us wake up, and without even thinking, we grab our phones, scroll through social media, check messages, look at the news, and before we even get out of bed, our brain is already reacting to notifications and updates. This creates a cycle where your mind is immediately distracted and your energy is spent on things that don't really matter. The day starts in a reactive mode instead of a proactive one, and over time this can make you feel anxious, stressed, or like you're constantly behind. One simple but effective strategy is to leave your phone across the room when you sleep. This way you can't just reach for it automatically. You actually have to get out of bed to turn off the alarm, and that small pause gives your brain a chance to wake up naturally instead of jumping straight into scrolling. Another strategy is to design a morning routine that doesn't involve your phone at all. Maybe you drink a glass of water, stretch, meditate for a few minutes, journal your thoughts, or even just sit quietly and take deep breaths. Doing something intentional first thing sets a calm and focused tone for the rest of the day. It trains your mind to start the day on your terms rather than letting your phone dictate your energy and attention. At first, it will probably feel strange, maybe even uncomfortable, or a little boring, because we've all been conditioned to crave notifications first thing. But if you stick with it over time, you'll notice a huge difference. You'll feel more in control, more present, and more capable of managing your time and attention. Breaking this one habit alone can change the way you experience your mornings and can give you momentum to tackle other phone habits later in the day. It's really about creating space for yourself and reclaiming those first few minutes of your day for your own focus and well-being. Another important step is creating phone-free zones in your life. This means setting specific places or times where you don't use your phone at all. For example, many people make the dinner table a phone-free zone. This allows you to be fully present with the people you're eating with instead of distracted by notifications. Another common phone-free zone is the bedroom. Keeping your phone out of the bedroom helps you sleep better and reduces the temptation to scroll late at night. You can also create phone-free times during work or study. maybe the first hour after waking up or the last hour before bed. The idea is to give your mind a break from constant stimulation and train yourself to enjoy life without always reaching for your device. At first, it might feel uncomfortable because our phones are so integrated into our routines, but the more you practice these phone-free zones, the more natural it becomes. You start to notice how much more focused, calm, and present you feel, and over time, these boundaries help you regain control over your attention instead of letting your phone dictate it. Creating phone-free zones is not about being disconnected. It's about creating intentional space in your life, so you can use your phone in a way that actually serves you rather than controls you. One way to regain control over your phone use is by setting up phone-free zones in your daily life. This means choosing specific places or times where you don't pick up your phone at all. For instance, many people decide that the dinner table is off-limits for phones. This gives you a chance to be fully present with the people around you instead of being distracted by notifications. The bedroom is another area that can benefit from being phone-free. Keeping your phone out of the bedroom can improve your sleep and reduce the urge to scroll late at night. You can also create phone-free periods during work or study, maybe the first hour after waking up or the last hour before bed. This helps your mind take a break from constant stimulation and lets you enjoy the moment without feeling the need to check your device. At first, it may feel strange or uncomfortable because phones are so deeply integrated into our routines. But with practice, these zones become easier to maintain. You'll start noticing that you feel more focused, calm, and present. And over time, setting these boundaries helps you take back control over your attention instead of letting your phone dictate it. Ultimately, phone-free zones are not about disconnecting from the world. They are about creating space so your phone serves you, not the other way around. Another thing that can really help is setting screen time limits or using app blockers. A lot of the time we don't realize just how much time we spend on our phones. We open one app and an hour goes by without us noticing. By setting limits, you create a clear boundary. For example, you can allow yourself only 30 minutes on social media a day or set specific times when you can use certain apps. Many phones have built-in features for this, and there are also apps that block distracting apps for a certain period of time. It might feel frustrating at first because you're used to checking whenever you want, but over time your brain gets used to it, and you start noticing that you don't need to be constantly connected. These limits help you focus on more important tasks, reduce anxiety, and even sleep better. The goal is not to remove your phone completely, but to take back control over your time. By using screen time limits and blockers, you create a healthier relationship with your phone and give yourself more space to focus on what really matters. Alright, so one really effective strategy is removing the most distracting apps from your home screen or even deleting them for a while. And honestly, this is something a lot of people overlook because it seems too simple, but let me explain why it works. The more an app is staring you in the face, the more likely you are to open it without even thinking. You know how it goes. You pick up your phone for one thing, and then suddenly you're scrolling for 20 minutes without realizing it. Just by moving those apps into a folder or onto a different screen, you create this tiny pause. And in that pause, your brain has a chance to ask itself, do I really want to open this right now, or can it wait? That pause might feel insignificant at first, but it's actually huge because it interrupts the automatic habit. Sometimes I even recommend deleting an app completely for a few days or a week. It doesn't have to be permanent. It's just to give yourself a reset and break that reflex of checking constantly. When you do this, at first it feels a little weird, maybe even uncomfortable because you're so used to having everything right there at your fingertips. But after a couple of days, you start noticing a difference. You don't feel the constant pull to check your phone. You start being more present, more focused, and you realize you actually don't need to look at that app every 5 minutes. Over time, this really rewires your brain to be less dependent on notifications and mindless scrolling. It's a small step, but it has a huge impact. And honestly, when you start doing this, you feel like you're taking back control over your attention and your time in a way that's really freeing. One really powerful strategy is to replace the habit with something better instead of just trying to stop it. Because let's be honest, telling yourself don't scroll usually doesn't work. Your brain still wants that little hit of dopamine, and it's constantly looking for ways to get it. So the trick is to give it an alternative that satisfies it in a healthier way. For example, when you feel that urge to pick up your phone and start scrolling, you could stand up and stretch, take a few deep breaths, write down a thought, read a page of a book, or even do a quick walk around your room or house. The idea is to give your brain a small reward while still staying productive or mindful. At first, it's going to feel strange because your brain is used to the old habit and it's going to protest a little, but the more you practice the new habit, the more your brain starts to enjoy it instead. This method is also great because it allows you to slowly add positive habits into your daily routine while at the same time breaking the old, unproductive ones. Over time, you'll notice that you naturally reach for the replacement activity instead of the phone without even thinking, and that's when the real change happens. It's not about perfection or never slipping up. It's about consistently offering your brain a better option, and every time you do that, you reclaim a little more control over your time, your attention, and ultimately your life. Replacing habits is really about retraining your mind, and once you start seeing the results, it becomes empowering and motivating to keep going. Something that can really make a difference is keeping your phone out of reach during work or study. A lot of the time we tell ourselves we'll just check something quickly, but that quick check turns into minutes or even hours of distraction. By putting your phone in a drawer, another room, or at least out of arm's reach, you create a natural barrier that makes it harder to give in to the urge. It's not about punishing yourself. It's about making it easier to focus and stay productive. You'll notice that without the constant pinging and notifications, your mind feels calmer and you can concentrate on tasks more efficiently. At first, it might feel uncomfortable because we're so used to having our phones right next to us, but after a few days, you start to see how much more time and mental energy you have, and it becomes a habit to work or study without distractions. Over time, this simple change helps retrain your brain to focus, reduces stress, and allows you to be more intentional about when and how you use your phone. Keeping it out of reach is a small adjustment that has a huge impact on productivity and overall well-being. One really effective approach is to schedule specific times during the day to check social media or messages, instead of picking up your phone randomly every few minutes. Because let's be honest, a lot of the time we don't even realize how often we're scrolling, and it ends up eating hours of our day without us noticing. By deciding in advance, for example, I'll check social media at 11 a.m. and then again at 6 p.m. You give yourself permission to look, but also create clear boundaries that prevent mindless scrolling. The beauty of this is that it allows you to stay connected without letting your phone control your time. At first, it might feel a little strange or even uncomfortable because we're so used to reacting to notifications the moment they appear. But after a few days or a week, you start noticing something powerful. You have more mental space, your focus improves, and you feel less anxious about missing something. You also begin to enjoy the content you actually care about instead of getting lost in endless feeds. Scheduling these check-ins creates structure in your day. It helps you be intentional with your phone use, and over time it changes the habit from a reflexive, automatic action to a conscious, controlled choice. This simple practice not only saves time but also reduces stress, improves productivity, and gradually rewires your brain to respond to your phone on your terms, which is the ultimate goal in breaking bad phone habits. A surprisingly powerful trick to cut down on phone use is switching your screen to grayscale, or in other words, turning off all the bright colors. It sounds almost too simple, but it works because our brains are wired to be attracted to color and movement. When you open social media, for example, the reds, blues, and all the vibrant visuals are designed to grab your attention and keep you hooked. By removing that stimulation and making everything black and white, your phone instantly feels less exciting. It's still usable. You can text, call, or do what you need, but that automatic pull to scroll endlessly becomes much weaker. The first time you try it, it might feel a little strange because you're used to seeing your apps so colorful, but give it a couple of days and you'll notice you don't feel the same urge to check constantly. Opening apps like Instagram or TikTok in grayscale just doesn't give you the same dopamine hit. And because of that, you naturally start cutting down your usage without even trying too hard. The beauty of this method is that it doesn't require willpower every time. It just changes the way your brain reacts to your phone. And over time, you'll find yourself being more intentional with how and when you use it. Grayscale might seem like a small cosmetic change, but it can honestly shift your relationship with your phone in a big way, making it a tool you control rather than a distraction that controls you. A really helpful practice is creating phone-free zones or phone-free times in your day. For example, deciding that your bedroom, the dinner table, or the first hour after waking up are places and times where your phone simply doesn't belong. What this does is create boundaries, and those boundaries give your brain a chance to rest from constant stimulation. Instead of waking up and instantly scrolling, you could use that time to stretch, drink water, or just start your day slowly. And instead of eating while staring at a screen, you actually enjoy your meal and connect with the people around you. At first it feels uncomfortable because we're so used to having our phones everywhere with us, but after a while these phone-free moments start to feel peaceful. You realize you don't actually need to check your notifications every second. You give yourself space to think, reflect, and just be present. Over time, these small breaks become something you look forward to, and they really help you break the cycle of constant checking. It's like retraining your brain to understand that not every moment has to involve your phone, and that's where you start building a healthier balance. Building hobbies outside of your phone is one of the best ways to cut down on screen time. The reason we reach for our phones so often is because we're bored or we don't know what else to do. So if you fill that empty space with something enjoyable and engaging, the urge to scroll starts to fade. This could be reading, drawing, cooking, working out, playing an instrument, journaling, or even going for walks. It doesn't really matter what the activity is as long as it gives your brain a sense of reward and keeps your hands busy. At the beginning, it might feel easier to just grab your phone, but once you get into the rhythm of a hobby, you'll notice time passes quickly and you feel more fulfilled than you would after an hour of scrolling. These hobbies also give you something to look forward to, something that enriches your day instead of draining it, and over time they naturally replace your reliance on your phone. The key is to choose activities that you genuinely enjoy so that reaching for them becomes more automatic than reaching for your device. When you do this consistently, your phone becomes less of a default choice and more of a tool you use intentionally. The last point I want to dive into is mindfulness when it comes to using your phone, and I know the word mindfulness gets thrown around a lot, but here it really just means being aware and intentional. Most of the time we pick up our phone without thinking. It's an automatic reflex. You feel a little bored, or you're waiting for something, or you're anxious, and suddenly your phone is in your hand before you even notice. That's where mindfulness comes in. Next time you're about to unlock your phone, pause for just a moment and ask yourself, why am I doing this right now? Do I actually need to check something, or am I just filling a gap? Is this serving me or distracting me? That small question sounds simple, but it's powerful because it forces your brain to move from autopilot into awareness. And when you become aware, you have the choice to stop, to redirect, or to continue intentionally. Sometimes you'll realize you don't actually need your phone at all, and you can do something else. Other times you'll use it, but with a purpose instead of endless scrolling. Over time, practicing this kind of mindful awareness rewires your habits. It helps you see the triggers that make you reach for your phone, whether it's stress, boredom, or avoidance. And once you see them, you can start to change them. The goal here isn't perfection. It's not about never touching your phone. It's about building a healthier relationship with it. One where you're the one deciding instead of letting the habit decide for you. When you consistently bring that awareness into your phone use, you'll notice a real shift. You feel less controlled, more present in your day, and more intentional about how you spend your time. And that's the ultimate way to break free from bad habits. So to wrap everything up, breaking bad phone habits isn't about cutting your phone out completely or living without technology. It's really about taking back control, about being the one who decides when and how to use it instead of letting it run your day. We talked about setting limits, creating boundaries, replacing habits, building new hobbies, and even simple tricks like grayscale or keeping your phone out of reach. All of these ideas are small on their own, but when you start practicing them consistently, they add up to real change. At first, it might feel uncomfortable because you're so used to that constant connection, but over time you'll notice you feel calmer, more focused, and more present, and that's the whole point. It's not about perfection, it's about progress. So start small, pick 1 or 2 strategies that feel doable, and build from there. The more intentional you become, the more freedom you gain. Thank you for listening, and I hope this helps you create a healthier balance with your phone and your habits. Until next time, take care of yourself and use your time wisely.